what's up, guys? Got another new video for you. This is Tuned In Sports. My name is Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm Don.
And today we've got another new member as a part of the Tuned In Sports crew. This is John, and he's going to join us for, quite the action. Yeah, some shenanigans. And he came in and knocked us off our feet with, this review. And we're going to hop into some UFC action. Speaking of getting knocked off your feet, that's what we pretty much witnessed tonight. There was only one decision. The rest of them were all straight people taking a pounding. And,
I mean, not necessarily in the prelims, but as far as the main card goes, it was pretty much all knockouts. So, it's always nice to see kind of a knockout flurry because, you don't generally see that all that often where there's, like, multiple knockouts in the, main card. I mean, I liked it. I mean, and I thought overall tonight was a good night of fighting. Probably my favorite fight throughout the night was, Jessica Ai and Joanne Calderwood, though. I thought that was an extremely good fight. Those two were going at it, and I just enjoyed it. I mean, and then, Michael Chandler came in for his UFC debut, and pretty much looked like he's been there for a long time, so,
looks
yeah.
pretty comfortable, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He was doing backflips and whatnot, so I think he was having a pretty good time.
Yeah. But, yeah. Definitely, I enjoyed tonight.
That was one of my favorites, was Chandler. Just going in there and taking names, first time at UFC, and
I know.
Just really
pretty much laid him out.
Killed him.
Yeah. Well, and that fight was really interesting because, we watched, especially in, like, the previews, holy crap, that Dan Hooker guy, we were watching him pound some fools, and we're like, oh, my God. And then I was like, oh, this guy's fighting Chandler because I knew about Chandler. He was a multi-time champion in Bellator, but sometimes, these people come over from Bellator, they got a lot of buzz, and then they go in the UFC, do diddly squat, and then they're back in Bellator and they're winning championships again. And it's like, okay, well, why couldn't you do anything in the UFC then? So you don't know how it's going to translate. But, from what I watched, I think, that right hook or whatever it was that he had that sent that guy into next year, I think that'll transfer just fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was saying it throughout the night when we were watching him. After he had won that fight, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if, a couple fights down the road, this guy's competing for a title shot. He definitely impressed me that much. Like I said, he looked like he had been in there in the UFC. It looked like it was nothing new to him. He came in there and pretty much laid his will down on this Hooker dude who, Hangman, Hangman Dan Hooker, he very much just
got hung.
Yeah, he got hung. But, yeah, But, yeah, also, it was kind of unexpected to see, McGregor lose like that. I was not expecting it, and, but then again, like we were saying before, this sets up it perfectly. Let's say Poirier gets given the title, right?
Because Khabib retired.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Let's say Poirier gets given the title. And then Poirier, in the post-fight interview, was talking about a McGregor Poirier 3. So it just sets up perfectly for a tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yeah, and this can be their first fight for the title. So, this is the one that truly means something. Yeah, those other fights didn't mean diddly squat. They were just a paycheck. This is the one that we care about. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so go out and buy it.
Yeah. This is the one that you should care about.
Don't give Connor more money.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What difference is when. Do it. What difference is when the title's on the line. I'm sure they'll make sure McGregor wins it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, that's what Showtime is, right? That's what money time, right?
Yeah.
Anytime there's a whiff of that, he's going to be involved. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely would have to agree. The first two fights I didn't watch much of, the Rodriguez and Rebus, and then Muradov and Sanchez I didn't really watch, but the girl fight, I versus Calderwood, that was back and forth. I mean, those two chicks were taking hunks out of each other, and what is the expression? They were kicking ass and drinking Coke, and they're all out of Coke or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what was going on.
Kicking ass and chewing gum, and I'm all out of gum right now. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing. I mean, again, as soon as the first bell rang, they were going at it. I mean, they were just throwing, and it was like, this is actually kind of cool. It was very entertaining, and it wasn't a boring match. It was very, very exciting.
Yeah. And sometimes you get these people that are, powerhouses and stuff, and then they kind of stand there and they're like, okay, we're going to respect the other fighter, so we're just going to stand here and dance around. And that can get pretty boring. And it's like, these people, they were like, oh, I don't care who the hell you are, I'm coming at you full force.
Yeah, and like post-match, I mean, you could just see, I mean, they were beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was not just like, oh, I think they got, no, they were both just, meat. I mean, at the end. So it was just like, oh, what do you got? And, Calderwood was the one that came up victorious with it, which I think she did because she actually threw, a little bit more, quality punches and
for sure.
a little bit more damage than Jessica did. So, kudos to her to get the W, but great fight.
Yeah, I mean, especially towards the end there. I mean, I'm pretty sure towards the end of the fight, Jessica's eye finally busted.
The eye of Jessica?
Yeah, the eye of Jessica eye finally, got cut, and she was like
leaking
blood. I mean, that just goes to show you just how like freaking crazy this fight was.
They can take a hit, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then not only that, but a lot of these people, especially the seasoned veterans, I mean, they cut so easily that it's like it's nothing. I mean, they get scratched by a pencil and they'll be, pouring blood more than you ever seen.
Nate Diaz.
Well, exactly. Classic example. I mean, the only difference is that he doesn't just do his fighting professionally. He's in the bars and doing everything else, fighting in the streets. So
he's working for tips.
Well, one thing I'll say is that
he's a mafia member or something.
All I can say is he can take a punch, though. I'll say that much.
He can do that.
It's like those wrestlers, when they get all those fights, they start cutting themselves with those razors underneath the mat. They just all of a sudden they cut easier.
Yeah.
Like Hogan and Flair. And all
yeah,
those
they
guys.
could just do it real quick, and all of a sudden they're
It's
leaking
like,
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was overall. I was pretty happy with the fights tonight. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was anything to write home about. It was entertaining, and I'm glad that I watched it. But I wouldn't say it was really anything more than that. It was just kind of another night of fights. And if you like fights, then you like this. And if you don't like fights, then you don't like this. And if you paid $80 for it, you probably didn't care for it too much. But I can imagine there's some people that probably didn't enjoy the content at that much because, in some respects it's like, well, it's nice to see people getting knocked out, but at the same time, when you pay $80 and most of the fights don't even get out of the first round with knockouts and stuff, it's like, oh, what did I just pay for? 10 minutes of action total? So I can imagine that kind of annoying, but I mean, whatever. In some respects, if you're going to pay the weight or the freight on this to watch it, you got to expect that could be the case. Yeah. So
never know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least that wasn't a screw job.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, just like you would. I mean, normally you wouldn't watch a major sporting event like even tomorrow's games, maybe for football. Who knows? They could be blowouts. You know what I mean? But you're expecting like, oh, I'm expecting a good game. But hey, you just never know. That's with it. But like you guys said, for me the fight, that was just shocking was that Chandler one with the hooker one. Yeah. That one was actually one where I actually got my attention. Like, whoa. Yeah. Because again, I was expecting Hooker at least put up something like this guy, like you said in the
previews
package, you're like, damn, this guy looks pretty lethal.
Yeah.
And then this other guy, they're like, Chandler, yeah,
Chandler.
Bellator, blah blah blah. Okay, there's no footage on it.
Yeah, more hooker highlights.
Yeah, and
More
then,
hooker highlights.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, they get into it and they're dancing along, and then he just hits him, and then he makes him look like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons, where the hair goes, and he just floors him, and then next thing you know, he crawls up on the top of the freaking cage, and then does a huge backflip off the top. You're like, man, this guy for nothing is just at least an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's
for real.
He's like P.T. Barnum. You're like, hey, greatest showman. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too with Bryson. I forget exactly how you put it, but it was just the timing was comical. It was you're like, this guy's got to get close and start doing some jabs, and the second you did that, the whole room's
Yeah.
he's on the ground.
Yeah, I was literally telling John, I was like, man, if he doesn't get inside this guy's jab, it's going to be a long night for. Oh, good night. All right, that's over. I was like, well, so much for that one. It was literally on cue.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally telling him when it happened. As a matter of fact, I think I missed the initial punch because I was looking at him and talking to him. And I was like, man, I guess that's what you get for, trying to be a know-it-all or something. I don't know.
I guess he was thinking the same thing. So
Yeah. He's like, okay, well, again, but with all these guys, same thing. It's like, okay, how much did I make for that? Yeah, well, sign me up for next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the next one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said before, not the greatest card I've ever watched, not the worst either. A lot of just solid kind of knockout type fights, and those can be exciting to watch. And for that, if you're into that kind of stuff, I'm sure you really liked it. And of course, Conor McGregor losing, shoot, I liked the card already. You told me going into it that he was going to lose, I would have maybe paid the $80. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't give him that much. But anyway, any time that he loses is a good day for me because I can't stand that fool. And, to see him lose like that was nice. At the end of the fight, he was talking about how you can't be as inactive as he's been and expect to pull off wins in the UFC and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point, but you're the one that's causing that problem. It's like, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, it's like he's talking about retirement just so that he can put his name in the news and then, only taking certain fights that make the most sense financially. And then, it's like, well, you're the only person that can fix this issue that you're having with inactivity.
Well, it's funny too because he's like talking about retirement, most likely to build up the hype when he comes back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that hype he just built up got destroyed,
steamrolled.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Kind of backfired on him, but
yeah,
we'll have to see. But
Welcome to the show, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. With that being said, we'll be sure to be reviewing it when he fights again.
Guess what? About 3 or 4 UFCs, we'll start talking about him again. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and by the time May rolls around, we'll be on here talking about him.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm just saying, it's like in some respects, I understand what he's saying, but it's like last year he had all these different fights lined up and stuff. And he turned him down for one reason or another. So it's like, well, yeah, you might be inactive or whatever, but it's not because, the fights aren't there. You're just not taking them. So I don't want to hear, oh, well, I haven't been able to get in here. Well, that's because of your own doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do something about it, sign the dotted line. That's it. That's all there is.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword, though. I mean, like you said, do you want to fight these just bums and not? But if you fight the number 2 guy and you happen to pull it off, which he was fully expecting, it looked like he was for the first half of it.
Yep.
So again, what does that do, right? That puts you right
in the picture,
right in the money spots, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's a roll of the dice, just like everything else on it. So we'll see what happens again. It's just UFC. It is what it is, right? That's what it's built on. That's what it's built on, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate financial credit.
Yes.
I mean, that's essentially what it is.
You got it.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like he's a superstar, so he pulls more leverage than these other people. I mean, he can just sit here and say, oh, Yeah, I don't know. After that last fight, I think I'm going to call it good. Oh, what? This veteran wants to make a comeback for one night only? Oh, okay, I'll fight him. Oh, wow, I'm in the title picture again. Even though I just lost to my last opponent and, who was ranked higher than this guy. But this fight, he'll come in and fight, a returning Anderson Silva who's 48 or, 52 or something. And, oh, wow, he's right in the title picture again.
Well, no, because with all sports and all that, it's the Tiger Woods thing, right? Who's the person that moves the needle?
Yep.
And if you're able to move the needle, you're set.
Yeah.
Because again, once that needle's gone, then it's very hard for them to push things and get everybody excited about it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they come back or they're in the picture, whoa, next thing here goes more dollars into the sport. So again, that's the reason why they have these people that move the needle in any sport, and that's the reason they hang around for a while, because they do have that impact.
Yeah.
On the sport, that anytime you drop their name, everybody goes, whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and he knows it too, and that's why.
And that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, you can't tell me that Tiger doesn't take all these other matches or like I think now he's under another surgery with his back or whatever. I mean, you can't tell me that he's not priming up for the Masters, right? You know what I mean? So because nobody cares about the Farmers Open or nobody cares about all these other tournaments, but as soon as you get to Augusta and you put Tiger Woods' name in Augusta, then it's like, oh,
yeah, I'm watching.
Everybody's it's must see TV, right? So
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is, and I mean, at the end of the day, too, he's thinking about his future, and he's like, hey, there's no reason to go out here and get myself too hurt, but I can come out here and make a few bucks doing this. I got the boxing thing going on now too, so I can do that. This moron Jake Paul keeps on, trying to shoot me out in the DM.
Apparently, I don't know how he moves the needle, but
there's
another one, right? Why? But
yeah, but hey, it's got him in the ring.
Obviously, seems to be some interest, right?
Yeah, it's got him in the ring with Mayweather.
Feels like if he can, Jake Paul, then anyone can. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if I go stir up some crap with one of these guys, maybe I could get in the ring and make millions.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I mean, the most telling part of it all was I watched Dana White on First Take. I'd say it was sometime last week. And the announcer said, Dana, in terms of Conor McGregor, what would you like to see from him in 2021? And he said, well, we're thinking if he wins this one, then he'll be lined up for a title shot in his next fight, and then at the end of the year, we can have a title defense. That's what he said. He said that would be his ideal 2021, is to have him win this fight, to fight for the belt, and then win it, and then defend the championship. That's what his ideal 2021. It's like, screw the rest of these guys. Yeah. If he wins the championship, we're making bank.
Yeah.
So that's all there is to it.
And the way things happen, maybe he'll get 3 fights out of him.
Yeah.
Which would be the perfect thing that he wants, right?
Well, and this right here tells you, I mean, there wasn't even a single title fight on the thing. And this pay-per-view probably made more money than the one that had 3 a couple months ago. Yep. And the biggest reason why is because people pay to see Conor. And, I mean, he's main eventing pay-per-views where he hasn't even fought in a while. Yep. And he's main eventing these pay-per-views just because people want to see. I mean, hell, look at Ronda Rousey even. When she fought Amanda Nunes, she hadn't been in the ring for over a year. Yeah. And she immediately, boom!
And it showed.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, she got absolutely clobbered.
Amanda Nunes!
But not to take anything away from Amanda, because I think she, with the way that she is, I think she can beat just about anybody anywhere, regardless of if Rousey was fighting on and off or not. I think she would have taken care of her, as much as I hate to say that. But regardless, good night of fights overall, and pretty enjoyable. Every time I watch this, I'm like, man, I should watch this every week. And then the next week comes, and I'm like, it's not a pay-per-view. I don't know if I really want to watch. But then sometimes I watch these pay-per-views, and I'm like, why don't I just watch the weekly show? It's the same thing. I mean, and once in a while, you even have a title fight on that. So it's like, ow. But anyway, yeah. So this video lasted a little bit longer than pretty much all the fights combined tonight. But hey, we hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Cost you less.
Yeah. yeah. Clicking on this was free, and we don't even have any ad revenue. So there you go.
Yeah. Sponsored.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out in the universe to see if it happens. That's all, right?
So yeah, we'll be sure to be bringing you more UFC stuff coming in the future. Especially now that football's over, maybe we'll get back into watching it a little bit more frequently again. And we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, so if you guys like the content, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. If you have any thoughts on the fights or what your favorite fight was or whatever, make sure you drop it down in the comments. And make sure you check out our other content on the channel from football, basketball, hockey, baseball, you name it. We got it. So anyways, with that being said, guys, I'm Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
I'm done.
I'm John.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Except for